In the wake of World War I, as the world grappled with the scars of conflict, Australia found itself facing an unexpected adversary on its home soil. A foe that, in the eyes of some, seemed utterly ludicrous: emus. Yes, the large flightless birds were the unlikely protagonists in a tale that would go down in history as the Great Emu War. The year was 1932, and Australia was still reeling from the economic downturn that followed the Great War. Many veterans, struggling to find employment, had turned to farming as a means of sustenance. However, the ex-servicemen soon discovered that the fertile lands of Western Australia were not as welcoming as they had hoped. The problem? An overpopulation of emus that wreaked havoc on crops, leaving the farmers in a desperate situation. Frustration and desperation reached a tipping point, and the farmers pleaded for help from the Australian government. In response, the government, led by then Prime Minister Stanley Bruce, took the unusual step of declaring war on the emus. It was a decision that would be remembered not for its strategic brilliance, but for the absurdity that ensued. As the Australian military geared up for an unconventional battle, the nation watched with a mixture of confusion and amusement. How could a country with such a rich military history find itself embroiled in a conflict against a population of flightless birds? The answer lay in the vast plains of Western Australia, where emus had multiplied beyond control, becoming a feathered menace to the livelihoods of the struggling farmers. The military's plan was as straightforward as it was unconventional. Armed with 2 Lewis machine guns and 10,000 rounds of ammunition, Major G.P.W. Meredith led a small contingent of soldiers into the heart of emu territory. Their mission? To cull the emu population and bring relief to the beleaguered farmers. The emus, however, had other plans. As the soldiers approached, the emus scattered, proving to be elusive targets for the machine guns. The soldiers quickly discovered that emus, with their remarkable speed and agility, were not as easy to defeat as they had assumed. The war, it seemed, was not going to be a swift and decisive victory. In the midst of this peculiar conflict, the perspectives of those involved painted a picture as colorful as the Australian landscape itself. Major Meredith, frustrated by the elusive emus, conveyed the challenges to his superiors, emphasizing the unpredictability of this feathered foe. The farmers, caught between the emus and the military, watched with a mixture of hope and disbelief as the events unfolded. As the battle continued, the media caught wind of the bizarre conflict, and soon newspapers across the country were reporting on the Emu War. Cartoons depicted emus in military gear, satirizing the absurdity of the situation. Australians, known for their unique sense of humor, found the comedic aspect of the conflict impossible to ignore. In a twist that added to the humor of the situation, the military's efforts were ultimately deemed ineffective. The emu population, rather than being decimated, simply dispersed, leaving the soldiers to return home in defeat. The Great Emu War had ended, not with a triumphant victory parade, but with the acknowledgement that nature, in the form of emus, had prevailed against human intervention. The aftermath of the Great Emu War left a lasting imprint on Australian history, not for its strategic significance, but for the sheer absurdity of the conflict. The legacy of the war was one of laughter, a reminder that sometimes the best-laid plans can be thwarted by the whims of nature. Decades later, the Great Emu War is remembered as a unique chapter in Australia's history, a tale of farmers, soldiers, and emus caught in a comedic conflict that defied expectations. The question lingers: was it folly to declare war on birds, or was it an earnest attempt to address the struggles of a nation recovering from the aftermath of war? In the annals of peculiar military conflicts, the Great Emu War stands as a testament to the unpredictable nature of human-wildlife interactions. It serves as a reminder that, even in the face of adversity, humor can be found in the most unexpected places. As Australians reflect on their history, the Great Emu War remains a source of amusement, a feathered footnote that adds a touch of eccentricity to the nation's narrative. Perhaps in the end the emus had the last laugh, their resilience echoing through the decades, as a reminder that even in the most unconventional of wars, nature has a way of asserting its dominance. And so, the Great Emu War, with its blend of humor and folly, continues to nestle in the collective memory of Australia, a quirky tale that transcends the boundaries of traditional military history.